And here they are, they're rolling. Now they're confident because they just won the championship. They're maturing. They're getting better. So, okay, put them aside for a second. You think the Lakers don't fit in with the rest of the pack? They got the second best record in the conference.
Yeah, but we've seen that before. That doesn't mean anything. I think when you look, we've seen it, right? We've seen when you have the talent up top that they have, those guys can win games.
LeBron and Luka.
But also Austin's played very well
Reeves,
this year.
Absolutely.
He's taking a step. But then things start to really, when you come to back half of the season, where guys are really, now they have their conditioning, they're
scouting you different, they're preparing for you more. Yeah.
It's one thing. Then when you go into the playoffs, we seen last year, they ran into athleticism and length. They struggled. So when you look at it now, athleticism, length, shooting, speed, right? Because now, can the Lakers play fast? I don't think so. And style of play. You can't, you know, that style of play is going to be very easy to guard when you get to the playoffs. But who do they not fit in with other than OKC?
Well,
I mean...
Denver?
Denver's, no. They're not a better team than
Houston?
Denver. Athletes.
Yeah, Max, the Lakers are missing a lot of athleticism. The guys out there in the wings are just way too slow to guard anybody. That includes LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves. And it played out no further than the playoff series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards basically had his pick of the litter of who he was going to blow by.
I think they fit in with it. Look, ideally, Austin Reeves, and who knows what happens by the playoffs, is Ginobili, right? In an ideal world,
on a championship
team, he's the killer sixth man, right?
Yeah. But
That's
he's
not
paid,
this.
But he's paid as a starter.
He's paid. I get it.
Yeah.
So it makes it harder.
Yeah.
Right.
No, what I'm saying is, Ginobili was paid as a starter.
Sure, but in this day and age, if you're paid the way he's about to get paid, it's harder to make you a sixth man.
Going back to the championship organization versus an organization with championships, the Spurs.
On the Spurs, he'd be the sixth man, right?
Right.
Especially back in the day.
The Spurs made that decision, and you know what Ginobili did? He embraced it.
Right.
And how many championships they win? 5.
Yeah.
It's those type of decisions to be made. Again, not getting enamored with all the other things. But I just don't. I think there's a couple things to be made, changes to be made in the short and the long. In the short, I'm putting LeBron as the screener because, no offense to Ayton or Jackson Hayes, they're just not the decision maker coming out of the pick and roll.
It makes it hard. Yeah. If you have Luka and LeBron in those roles,
what I'm saying.
Because
now,
LeBron is overqualified for that role.
But now all you need in that case, we've seen it, the guy in the dunker spot, and then the guy in the short corner. If they make shots, then you're very tough to beat. Now, some teams may just...
Come on, Rich. I can't let you get away with that. LeBron is not at the point in his career where he's going to be setting screens 24/7. And also, he's not willing to get down low. As big as he is, virtually bigger than everyone else that's out there on the court. As if he's 22 years old, knowing that he can't even blow by anybody. Just look up his layup and dunk attempts every single season.
Some teams may just switch it, but it depends on who's guarding. You have to have 2 really good defenders on your team in order to just switch a LeBron and Luka pick and roll.
So as currently constructed, you don't love the Lakers' chances?
No.
Is LeBron realistically a guy who could not be on the Lakers at the end of this year?
No.
He will be on the Lakers at the end of this year.
Yeah, where's he going to go?
Facts, there's no marketplace for him. With the way the new CBA is, a lot of these teams don't want to hit that second apron, and it's very difficult to move contracts like LeBron at $50 million, even though it's an expiring deal. Knowing this, you really got to wonder what kind of deal did the Lakers strike with Luka in order to make him extend? Because if you include last season, this season, and maybe even next year, they got to slowly reconstruct this whole thing, and it's wasting his prime years.
I mean, New York comes to mind.
That's wishful thinking. If they can't, you're from New York.
The Knicks would love Giannis, right, or someone like that. But the price tag for a 100-year-old guy making $50 million a year is a lot lower. And actually, I think as a kid who grew up rooting for the Knicks, he's still in me somewhere. I don't think the Knicks can win a championship as currently constructed
LeBron
either.
make the
because
Knicks
Brunson's
better?
too small.
Yes.
Yeah.
He would, of
Yeah.
course. But 29 other teams would say the same thing.
But they don't have the assets or the need quite, or are in the position or are in the market that make.
Or these teams have already hit the first or second apron into the tax. That's another part that doesn't get discussed too much. Some of these teams, depending on where they're at in the luxury tax, they're restricted on the kind of trades they can make. The dollar amount almost has to be exact to the T, and sometimes they're not even allowed to do 2-for-1 deals.
Makes sense for LeBron. Like if the Knicks can't land a guy like Giannis, which let's see them do it. It's hard to do.
Very hard to do.
And they'd have to give up so much to get Giannis.
In my position, there's relationships that you have, genuine relationships. I think, most people are trying to trade and barter. That's not that. I mean, I actually have a genuine relationship. So,
Yeah, we had a relationship even when you were.
Yeah.
The
I
thing
talk to a lot of people in the space.
Yeah. The thing I like about that is I could trust your information, that you weren't trying to position me. Like you're an agent, you're looking out for your clients, but sometimes you're talking to someone and you better not run with it right away because you could get burnt.
Yeah,
Because they're telling you stuff to position you. But I knew that would never be the case with you. You were just talking.
No, if you have it, you have it. I just want you to have it right.
Right.
And the issue I have in today's, industry is everyone's looking for clickbait and everyone's looking just to say certain things. They don't have it right. Now, the perception is, oh, well, you this guy's agent. You're just gonna want to. No, if he screwed up, he screwed up. If he's getting traded, he's getting traded. Whatever the case may be, that's what it is.
Right.
But I just want you to have it right, and I also want you to say, okay, this is what I heard. Give me some insight here, and then once you have all the information, then you can bake the cake however you choose to bake it. Just have all the ingredients.
Right.
Like I would always say, if I could choose where my player gets drafted, I want them to go to certain places because, in my opinion, it puts extra years on their career.
Pittsburgh, Baltimore, whatever it is. In football, there are
Yes.
established good culture places
Yes.
that are always going to compete.
And in basketball too.
San Antonio.
Because when you go to these places, believe it or not, all organizations aren't created equal, which I actually think the league should have a mandatory prerequisite standardized level of all things you have to be as an organization across everything from.
You want to homogenize the NBA and NFL even more?
No. I'm talking about the NBA in this. I'm saying as an organization, it should be a threshold that you cannot come below across all things from medical staff
I see.
to, cafeteria, all the way across. Because, again, it just you can. It's not all organizations are not created equal in that way.
Right.
Facts. And LeBron James doesn't get enough credit because he actually increased certain standards within some of the organizations that even other teams have copied. For example, in Cleveland, he had catering after the games for both the home and away team. So behind the scenes, he has improved things to make it better for players.
Right.
And
Who was it in the NBA everyone was getting hurt? Was it Phoenix? About 10 years ago.
Well, Phoenix used to have one of the best medical
No,
staffs.
so it wasn't Phoenix. I'm trying to remember the NBA organization that everyone was getting hurt because they shared staff with like the NFL team. It was New Orleans.
Damn. No wonder Zion can't get right. And let's not forget, in his early days with the Pelicans, one of his parents had tweeted out making comments about the medical staff down there in New Orleans. At some point, the NBA is going to have to pause those expansion talks and just move the Pelicans to Vegas or Seattle. But going back to the topic of medical staffs, we could even look at the Portland Trail Blazers when they had Brandon Roy and the way the situation played out with, what's his name, Greg Oden. Back-to-back high-performing draft picks that had very questionable recoveries. You would think with a lot of the star players that the investment in the medical staff would be top priority. And it's something that should be standardized because Portland, I tell you what, they had one hell of a player in Brandon Roy, and I can only imagine the possibilities if Greg Oden had stayed healthy.
Oh yeah, New Orleans.
Yep.
New Orleans does share, but like, again, it's one of those things where you have to have these relationships, and you have to have the ability to say to people, to teams, etc. This now, when you're a superstar, depending on what you care about, you can also help a team improve in those ways as well. But
So you think Lamar could have had a ripple effect on the Jets potentially?
Yeah, if he's taken what he's gotten in Baltimore and he gets to New York, because of what he was able to see in Baltimore, he can actually identify what New York actually lacks.
Bring some of that,
Yeah, if a kid's,
some of what LeBron brought back to Cleveland after Miami.
absolutely.
A little of that pixie dust,
And
but
also
it's
to
not
the
magic.
Lakers. But if you're getting from college to the Jets or whomever, you just want to go pro. You don't, I mean, what do I know? You don't, unless you're coming from one of those major programs, my Ohio State Buckeyes or a Georgia or Alabama, those are like the 33rd, 34th, and 35th NFL team. That's not,
right. But
So,
the more you talk about it, Giannis, yes, should be moved. Lamar should stay where he is.
fair point.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Lamar should stay where he is.
Because you feel like what?
Because you're right about Baltimore. The organization has shown over time. You have to see the difference between sometimes a certain regime is run its course in terms of coaching staff or players, as you said, you could overhaul. But if the that's moving furniture. If the architecture is good in an organization, you can ride that out because the chances are that'll fix itself.
So, okay. So you say that. Well, sometimes the player also has to recognize where he's at too.
Right.
Because if you go home and the people around you, you should do this, you should do that. If you read all the comments on social media, but if you don't recognize what you actually have, I mean,
you're saying that's why a change of scenery is sometimes good for the player, even if he's in a good organization?
No. Sometimes a change of scenery is not good for the player.
Oh,
because
I see. Yeah.
if you're Giannis, right?
You're making the opposite point.
I always say this. Your stepmom is not going to treat you like your mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's not. If you got one time and that front door going to be locked, the side door going to be locked. And if you had a key, the lock's going to be changed.
But mom's going to leave the door open.
Mom's going to come through the side door
Right.
with the plate. She going to throw mysteriously the car keys was dropped in the driveway. She couldn't find the keys. You didn't use the car. Like this is what happens. You know who I said this to years ago? DeMarcus Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to leave Sacramento so bad. And I said this to him. I love DC. He's great. I'm like, I don't know, man.
And before this recent wave of bigs, he was like the most skilled big you could see.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when a team drafts you, and I don't know how he feels about this, and he'll tell me when he see me, but it's just like, listen, man, your stepmom is not going to treat you like your mom, regardless of what your talent may be. So even in Giannis's case.
That is facts. And I'm pretty sure that's a hard lesson that Kevin Durant has learned throughout the years, that no other franchise was going to treat him like the homegrown Oklahoma City Thunder. He had a few instances, even in Golden State, where it looked like they were treating him like a rental. Same thing in Brooklyn. And of course, with the Phoenix Suns, we seen how quickly they shipped them out once the luxury tax payments started to pile up. And this is a scenario we should pay real close attention to with LaMelo Ball and Ja Morant, the rumors of them possibly being traded. Because those two players have a very unique game, they're going to be hard to build around. And there's not going to be another franchise that's going to give them that homegrown loving. Even James Harden, to a degree, ever since he left Houston, the other franchises he has gone to, the love is not quite the same. Even though he wasn't drafted there, the fact that he made a name for himself while playing for that franchise and just sort of became well known in the whole NBA zeitgeist. It's a symbiotic relationship. Same thing for DeMar DeRozan with the Toronto Raptors. Once you leave that base, the other franchises are not really going to even treat you the same. There's just an endless amount of examples. LeBron James, the way he's kind of being ushered out of LA. Zion, if he ever left the Pelicans, the love is not going to be the same anywhere else. Even Luka, to a degree, he's out in LA, but his relationship is almost like him getting with a side piece. And the Mavericks is that loyal wife that always really loved him. Shit is just not the same.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when a team drafts you, and I don't know how he feels about this, he'll tell me when he see me, but it's just like, listen, man, your stepmom is not going to treat you like your mom, regardless of what your talent may be.
Putting him in the hands,
Yeah,
Rich,
but you can't focus
on
on
third down and stuff, and he's just dropping
But
it.
you can't focus on listen, the man was going to retire last year.
Right.
Right. So he came back. The focus that's one guy. The focus can't be only on Kelsey. Several guys drop passes.
Yeah.
At least if someone's going to drop a pass, he gets a pass to drop a pass. He's caught
For
so
sure,
many, you know.
But that's what I'm saying. When your safety valve, when the guy who bails
right,
you out,
but this is why the
isn't-
reshuffle.
Yeah.
Where's the next Kelsey? You know, like you have to really start to figure those things out.
Uh-oh, Rob Pelinka. Rich Paul is telling you, where's the next Alex Caruso? Where's the next KCP? How have you been reshuffling the deck? Your reluctance to use that first overall pick from a couple seasons ago that LeBron wanted to attach with Russell Westbrook to send them away.
If you Mahomes, if you want to stay in Kansas City, which I think he would, he's gotten so much equity there. He has ownership in the baseball team. He got the steakhouse, so on and so forth. And as a quarterback, unlike the NFL, although I think some quarterbacks should move, the only way you really want to move is if your team has not shown the capabilities to replenish.
to make adjustments.
Yeah, then
The front
then he would
office,
but that hasn't been the case.
And also you have a great coach. You have one of the greatest coaches ever. With
That
you.
hasn't been the case. Now, if they bring a new coach in, things change, whatever, then that's a different situation. But I don't think, I think we are a few steps removed from him saying, if he ever said, I want to change the scenery.
It's so interesting to me, though, that Tyreek leaves, and it looks like receiver by committee, and he's spreading it around, and maybe this is better for the team, and that's okay, right? But it's Kelsey's decline that makes it look horrible.
Well,
It's like okay, you could plot the Chiefs' demise, right, and say when Kelsey started to not be good, the Chiefs looked horrible.
yeah, but so has Tyreek.
What's that?
Without Mahomes.
No, I'm saying, but like in terms of what made the Chiefs work, it seemed like Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes could withstand the loss of Tyreek Hill, and Andy Reid can game plan with the other receivers, and Mahomes can spread it around. They could still get to the Super Bowl, but it's the decline of Travis Kelce that makes none of this work, and that's you got to go find out another Travis Kelce. That's hard.
Well, that position has always been that position to me in the NFL is that tight end position is like having a great four-man in the NBA, but that can do it all.
Right.
If he needs to rebound, if he needs to pick and pop, can make the right reads. Because when you think about the great tight ends, I mean, they made big plays in big games all the time. From a Tyreek's perspective, individually, he is a great receiver, a talent off the chain, but he hasn't had the success, the team success, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And in those situations, the grass it's not always greener.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, Kelsey is not the same player he once was, but the man was going to retire, so that's fine. And he's done a hell of a job. But you unplug into Tyreek, and what are you really replacing it with?
AKA Rob Pelinka, my man Rich Paul is talking to you.
So
It's been a lot.
So in this case, you
away.
think because the reason I asked about if it was the NBA is it feels like when a superstar player in the NBA, when the franchise stops functioning the way it normally does, they might want to get out of there, right? In the NFL, it doesn't really happen like that. If the guys,
Well, I think that's the new NBA.
Rich Paul is right. When he says the new NBA, he's referring to the fact that the owners with the new CBA have basically eliminated player movement. With that second apron almost serving as a hard cap, teams are not going to necessarily be anxious to trade for a superstar. We're seeing that play out this season with Ja Morant and LaMelo Ball. And even to a degree, let's say a team like the Sacramento Kings, if they don't want to deal with Zach LaVine, it's going to be hard to move his contract.
I think that's the new NBA.
right? Sure.
Because the old superstar player did, I think.
So what's the difference? Why does that work? Why does it work that way?
The NFL the NFL, the NFL player is not empowered the way that the NBA player, or so they don't think they are.
Mhm.
And the old tradition is it has to stay this way. And a lot of the NBA players got flack for this, starting with the obvious, got flack. But
Who's the obvious?
you have to understand.
LeBron James for player movement. Come on, Max. You already know that.
And you have to want to be willing to take on that responsibility and that accountability. I don't want to be here, especially if there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's so hard to win a championship. Nothing's going to guarantee you a championship. But if I can't even see the idea of competing at a high level consistently anymore, then you have to move. But the NFL player is not there yet.
The other thing we don't think about coaches this way, but there's like a outer limit in terms of the ages of head coaches where they just get so much older than, like, let's say the rookie, right? You get to a certain age and the head coach is like 50 years older than the rookies coming in. And they can't really relate to them any, there's such a gap. It's like 2 generations removed and they can't relate to them anymore. Now, I'm not saying Andy Reid is there because you're entitled to not make the AFC Championship game a year in your career like that. But you do wonder if you're Mahomes or if you're the Chiefs and you're taking a very sober look at the team. Your point is basically like he's in a place that has been able to replenish through the draft. You take a defensive end at the end of the first round, but he turns out to be really good, and they seem to be able to mix and match and plug and play and keep it going. And the main thing in the NFL is you have the quarterback and the coach, and obviously you have that at the highest level. But how long can Andy Reid keep going like this, right? And if you're Mahomes or if you're the Chiefs, does that have to cross your mind at a certain point? Like, we have to start thinking about the next guy to put with Mahomes.
Absolutely, yeah. But look, I think Mahomes is in a situation where he has to look at it. It's not only is he the quarterback of the Chiefs, does he see himself as a partner? I don't know his relationship with the ownership group.
Now, Rich Paul right there brings up a great dynamic that's going on with a lot of these superstar players of today in the various sports, because earning over $300 million and just signing 10-year deals or just any kind of long-term contract with these franchises is now a partnership in full. LeBron James has been doing it for the past decade or so. Any franchise that he goes to, it is definitely a partnership because he does increase the net worth of that overall brand. Luka Doncic today with the Lakers, that is a partnership. There is an understanding when Luka signed that extension of how things are going to work out going forward. Hopefully for Luka's sake, the Lakers do have a plan to put him in position to compete in his prime, as that trade did signify to Luka that he's going to waste a couple of seasons rebuilding himself to try to get back to the NBA Finals.
But if he sees himself as a partner, he does not have the pressure to win. He's won. Normally a superstar in that position, they have a pressure to get over the hump. So that's kind of pushing them out the door or wanting change as well. So he actually has a lot going for him to be patient in this situation. But yeah, I think you have to have that conversation. And I like Andy Reid. I think he's always been, even though he's older, been around, he's probably coached more years than I've been alive.
We got to wonder if LeBron winning in the bubble for the Lakers, did that take the pressure off of him bringing some sort of championship success in his venture while being out there? That championship kind of went under the radar as there were restrictions due to the pandemic. So no parade, no celebration. That championship victory was not overtly in any of our faces. So it's almost as if it went unnoticed in a way.
But I think he is relatable to guys. I think he's on the pulse a little bit, where most guys his age probably
like
wouldn't
Belichick
be.
reached a point where it's too much.
And guys come in. Not only do they come in at a young age, but they also come in very inexperienced in life. That really messes with the locker room.
Yeah.
Right? Because less coachable, less open-minded, less willing to really listen and things like that.
Damn, Rich, are you talking about some of the Laker players in the locker room in the past few seasons? Outside of LeBron James being 40 years old and Anthony Davis being in his early 30s, there was a major drop-off in some of the ages of their role players. Shit, even Luka to a degree, being only, I believe, age 26 this season. So Rich Paul right here, once again, the double speak in the very early stages of this conversation. They're really revealing a lot of the parallels that was going on behind the scenes with the Lakers.
You see the guy. It's a me thing a lot of times, and football has always been a we type of a game. So I think dealing with all that, and I imagine Mahomes deals with all that as well. Not just Mahomes, but a lot of the veterans in these NFL locker rooms or in any locker room. But I still think there's a few steps where Mahomes sits down and say, okay, let's look at this holistically. Coach, team, both sides of the ball, cap, what's our, financial flexibility if we have any, how are we approaching the draft? What are some of the holes we need to be filled? Because it's hard, man. It's hard depending on others in anything.